Frazer.
Ben.
I said we wouldn't be back till 2023.
I know.
We had to do it, mate.
Here we are.
What did you think after last week?
I feel a lot better today than I did Friday morning.
Yeah, but that's because you can't drink and control yourself.
I can drink. I can't control myself. I thought it was amazing. The Business Awards, the Education Awards. Should we focus on the Business Awards first?
Yeah, chronological order and all that.
Chronological. The amount of emails, calls, text messages, Instagram messages, LinkedIn messages saying, wow, well done. You guys rock. The whole team are awesome. What a night. I mean, biggest and best yet, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, you know how worked up I got this time last week.
Yeah.
And I think career highlight.
Yeah,
I
totally
think
agree.
there's always, I mean, we'll cover this in our debrief for the rest of the team tomorrow, but so this is a little bit premature, but we'll just roll with it. I think that was a career highlight for me. It's up there. There's always room for improvement, as there always is with everything that we do in the business, but yeah, that was a solid 9 out of 10, I think.
Definitely wasn't room for any more people there, was there?
No. 542.
Should have been 543. Thank you, Adrian Price. But 542 people, 53 tables, a mix of businesses from across Northamptonshire, our sponsors, our finalists. I had somebody ring me this morning and say, Frazer, I've never had so much FOMO because I wished I was there.
FOMO?
Fear of missing out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. To see that many people in a room, to see the reaction of everybody with the band were amazing. Paddy was an absolute professional. He absolutely nailed it. I caught up with Joseph Skinner from J. Sweeney Accountants this morning, and the first award of the evening was Apprentice of the Year, and I can still hear
Which
his
had
whoop.
over 70 entries, by the way.
Yeah, I said that to Joseph this morning. I said, how's Lauren doing? Is she still holding her award? I'm surprised she didn't bring it Friday evening. And he said, yeah, she's brought it in. She's paraded it around. And I said...
She's asked for a pay rise. If you haven't got one yet, Lauren, ask for one.
Yeah, ask twice, Lauren. And I said to Joe, 70 people entered that award. And she was crowned the finalist on the evening. Just to be a finalist.
Well, and it comes back to what I said on stage. That Trustmark award means so much to us. In a way, I think how everybody felt Thursday night that won, because I get it, being a finalist is amazing, and probably the finalists that were finalists maybe don't appreciate as much from a recognition perspective as what we do, because we know what goes in terms of the independent scoring and the independent judging. But for us to be recognised with outstanding and be the only awards ceremony in the region, not Northamptonshire, it's far beyond that, was pretty incredible. And it's only when you can look back and go, oh, actually, you 5 apprentices of the year that were finalists, there was over 70 entries, and it was similar, obviously, for other categories. Not all had over 70, obviously. But it just shows it's about integrity, independence, and excellence.
I think that's what it is. There's there's a lot of standouts from Thursday evening, but
What was your favourite?
my favourite standout was there was a couple that I don't want to talk about just yet, but I think when Paddy said, Frazer, I'm going to ask everybody if they want to come up and have a selfie. So I thought, yeah, why not? Why not, Paddy? Great idea. I didn't realise he was going to do it over the microphone.
Do you know what I thought when you said that? We can't.
Yeah, we can't talk about that.
YouTube will take this down if I told them, won't they?
Probably.
But you remember what I told you, didn't you?
I do. But yeah, there were 542 people in the room, and probably 300 of them stampeded towards the stage to get a selfie with Paddy. But
yeah, I think my personal highlight, I had a couple. Helly Wright, ACS Recruitment. Oh, what a lady. Right, one of our first ever clients, okay, in this business. She came up to me, she gave me a cuddle. And she went to rub out my chin, or one of my chins, before you got there. Yeah, well done. So. And I went, what are you doing? And she went to lick her thumb and go again. I said, no, Helly, what are you doing? She went, you've got a bit of fluff. And I went, where? She went, on your beard. I went, no, I haven't. She went, oh my God, my darling, that's grey. I went, yes, it is, Helly. It's a little bit of grey beard, which I believe is probably around there.
Just there, right there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was there. I experienced it all.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
Oh, yeah, of course. Right.
Yeah.
So
That's when I started talking like that, so she couldn't see mine.
And by the way, she's just had a big birthday. I'm not going to say how old, but she looks nothing like her age, by the way. But she apologised to me every time I saw her for the rest of the night.
She followed up that with, I was talking to her and Chris, so she just told Chris the story. And
I bet he loved that.
He absolutely loved it. And then we got onto the subject of something else, and she got a double, because she then went to Chris, well, you're all right, because you've got a face for radio. That's like, well done, Helly. My absolute highlight, and we'll get to that shortly, because Thursday wasn't just about the finalists, the sponsors, and the winners. It was about something else, which we'll go on to. But every single finalist, like you said, that trust mark, what we have for being outstanding. This isn't the All Things Business show. It isn't Ben Thomas choosing the winners. This is an independent scoring process just to become a finalist, and then you get put in front of 4 judges for them to battle it out. In the words of Nick Hewer, there was raised voices to decide
what
who
was that. Sorry?
Raised voices.
Is that your impersonation of Nick Hewer saying raised voices?
Raised voices, yeah.
Sorry, Nick.
Yeah, apologies. But yeah, we don't have an involvement in that. We were surprised as everybody else on the evening.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, there are what I love about the awards is there are businesses there that, if I'm honest, I hadn't heard of before.
Yeah.
And you get to see some of the reactions of them when they do win, some of the reactions when they don't. But I think that just means that they're passionate and that they care. But we can stand proud and go, there have been, everybody that's been a winner, that's so well deserved, because you've had at least, with the independent scoring panel, then the judges, you've had at least 8 people that have judged your business or judged your application. Now, there's a separate conversation there around entries versus what that looks like, because some people get outsourced people to come in and do the entries. Some people have internal people. That's a whole different conversation. But everybody's worthy of that. And I think it was a really good... No, it wasn't good. It was a great way of shining a light on what is a wonderful county. I said it in the opening speech.
Yeah.
Long gone are the days when Northamptonshire is just known for Silverstone and for the shoe industry. Both of those will forever be in our history and will be a long-standing part of our economy. But then you go and look at the tech businesses that are here, the manufacturing businesses that are here. You look at some of the flagship businesses that are that have chosen specifically for Northamptonshire to be their head office. The food and drink sector. We had the queen of the food and drink sector, Rachel Mallows, as one of our guests and judges. The food and drink sector employs over 50,000 people in Northamptonshire. Charlotte Patrick was there from the University of Northampton, who runs the Logistics Awards with Tony Bella. 1 in 7 people that live in Northamptonshire, 1 in 7 people that work in Northamptonshire work within the logistics and transport sector. And we shone a light on Northamptonshire as a county. I thought the new business of the year category was great. Richard Osborne from UKBF, very passionate about new business and startups, not just in Northamptonshire, but nationally. But I think, he said it when he went up and before he presented the award, who would set up a business over this last 2-3 years? And anybody that has, fair play to them, because before the pandemic, statistics weren't good for you anyway, for surviving after 3 years. And then for you to go and get the recognition from that independent judging panel.
And all of those finalists were strong as well. You had a mix of good businesses.
One of my favourite videos was the ice bath. I hadn't heard of the ice bath company, and then you're watching him, and I'm like, that is actually below freezing temperature. Every
it didn't flinch, did it?
I know. Well, every 30 seconds he did, and I thought that was great. It was great, and I watched it, and that was one of my favourite videos.
Just on Rachel Mallows quickly, in her speech where she went up, and one of the biggest mantras of what we do, why we do, was buy local, support local. And she wasn't just talking about the food and drink sector there. Everybody in that room has the ability to do business with each other and not leave this county.
Yeah. I did an exercise with Nick Craven. I'm not sure
you
if
did
Nick
exercise. Oh, an exercise. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, do you want to running race again? Do you want to go to the gym?
Do you want to lifting? competition.
Okay. All right, mate. If only I had a body like yours. Right. Nick Craven, great guy, Weatherbiz, and I don't know if he watches our podcast, but I did an exercise years ago when I was involved with the Wellingborough Chamber of Commerce, and it was around buying local. And the message was, how many of your suppliers have got an NN postcode? And he very kindly shared that with us. And it turned out that at the time, they were using I think it was a fire extinguishing servicing business in Ipswich. And there was a fire alarm business that was based up in Scotland. And it was just through either companies that had sold out or that had been, merged with another business, or somebody had gone on to another company and taken the relationship, which is all fine. But when you're talking about being sustainable and being environmental, I could name you 6 companies that could quote for both of those businesses that have got an NN postcode. Yeah. And Weatherbiz as a business, they went on and made those changes. I echo what Rachel said, buy and support local.
Sticking on sustainability, the theme of the award this year, we entered Sustainability of the Year award as a first-time category, but
we didn't enter it.
No, we entered it as a category. It was the first year that it was a category.
Created it, started it, entered the wrong word, but yeah, go on.
Potato.
Right and wrong.
Left and right. You've put me off now. Where was I going?
Sustainability.
Trees. Talk to me about trees.
Wixley Park, Lee Scragg and his team. Lee's the MD at Wixley Park. I did not realise how hard it was to find land in Northamptonshire to go and plant a couple of 100 trees, what I thought would be. Highways agencies, housing developers, etc. And in the end, I was pulling my hair out, hence why I now look like this. And we went to Lee. Well, I spoke to Lee, said, Lee, can you help us? He went, yeah, of course we can. And the sponsors all shared our vision, and without them, that we're nothing. Without the sponsors, these awards don't even take off. Without our sponsors, these awards can't possibly be the premium awards for Northamptonshire. Doesn't happen. But they share our vision and passion, right from 2017 when I approached them, right through to now, in terms of having the independent judging panel and everything that we want to do on the night. And when we said to them 6 months ago at the sponsors event, we want to do something different this year. We want to get rid of the goodie bags, and we want you to build something from a legacy perspective and put that 250 quid or 500 quid or £1,000 towards something different, trees. And we've put that all together in a pot, and we've funded just over 2,000, I'm going to say saplings. There is another word.
You tried to pronounce it.
I know. And do you know what? I must have said that word about 25 times last Thursday. I want to say dedacious, but it's not that.
Isn't it deciduous?
Well done, mate. Well done. Deciduous.
I knew what it was the whole time.
Brilliant. Deciduous saplings with tree protectors. And then there's also going to be a few dozen semi-matured oak trees as well, which are obviously they're going to be more prominent. But Lewis at Wixley Park, who's the ranger, he's the real passionate guy there. So from January, we're going to have those planted. He's going to start planting them before Christmas, but as you can imagine, it's going to take a long time. And then we're going to have a bit of a photo call for the sponsors that have contributed to that. Get over there. Graham Stothard, no pressure whatsoever, Anglia News, is going to come over and cover that for us in terms of showcasing how businesses make a difference within the community. Because, we could have given everyone a goodie bag last Thursday. 20% of them would have made them to the office, 40% would have probably got chucked outside, 20% would have been left on the tables, etc. And it would have been great because people would have seen them. But is that making a difference? What do we stand for as a business? Now, tens of thousands of people are going to benefit from those trees for many, many, many years to come. They're going to far outlive you and I.
True story.
Here we go.
Friday morning, went home and saw Albie. And he said to me, Dad...
You went home on Friday morning?
Yeah, not Thursday night. Got home Friday morning, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. And he said, Dad, where's my goodie bag?
Oh.
Because after every award, he likes to go through. He's still got his, don't judge me for this, his McIntyre Hudson bottle opener that he uses.
Your son's got a bottle opener?
Yeah, because he's fully trained to open them. He's DBFB lens cleaner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to have a lanyard. I know. Your son's one of those that needs a lanyard.
He's got a lanyard.
Yeah.
He's, I think if we looked hard enough, he's got a purple BHIB duck.
No, yellow.
No, they were purple.
No, they were yellow. Julie Walker, if you're watching this,
Are you sure?
is your duck purple or yellow?
Didn't it have a yellow beak?
No, it was a yellow duck with a orange or red beak. Mate, we put 550 of him into bags 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
And he said to me, "Well, Dad, where's my goodie bag?" So I said, "Oh, we've not done one this year, Alpy."
Or did you go, "Oh, we haven't done this one
Yeah,
yet. Go to school, shut up."
And he said, "Why not?" So I explained to him, and because he's been learning all about sustainability and the environment at school, a 7-year-old turned around and actually went, "Dad, that's a really good idea because there's not enough trees being planted." So if that's a 7-year-old taking that, the difference...
Good boy, Albie.
Yeah, absolutely, very good boy. The difference that we try to make to people, and again, without the sponsors, that wouldn't have happened. And that's a huge, huge thing.
I've had, I'm not exaggerating here, I've had well over 100 messages around the awards, which is fantastic. Some of which are from people that didn't attend. Yeah. But there were three overwhelming factors. One we're going to come on to. Two was John Harley, which we're going to come on to next. And the other one was the trees. And I think, we'll cover this tomorrow, but why don't we do that every year? Just keep adding to it.
I think that's the legacy now that
when
continues.
Lee will turn around and go, "Right, boys, that's it. You've got your own forest now. We don't need any more. We'll move on to somewhere else," because the benefit that trees bring to visitors and all the other added benefits, why shouldn't we do that?
Yeah,
so anyway,
a huge difference.
That's the trees and sustainability. John Harley, I must admit, towards the end there, I got. I didn't nearly. I wasn't going to cry, but I didn't. I've known John for years, but he hasn't had the impact on my career that he has on others. And what I mean by that is, I didn't get to see the best of him because I sort of arrived on the scene too late, so to speak. Whereas I know dozens and dozens of people where they go, "He's changed my life," and that obviously has a knock-on effect. And to see him receive that award to a standing ovation,
there wasn't a single person sat down.
Everybody was sat down. That in itself, the ears of my arms are going out. That in itself is testament to the guy. And then he held a room together at the end of the night when most people had a couple of beers, and yet you could still hear a pin drop. Yet when I got up at the beginning of the night, I was telling people, "Who's learnt to whisper under a helicopter?" But John Harley got it, and he still managed to tell a story, but delivered in such a special way that was completely unprepared. Yeah. That's when I turn around and go, "We've done the right thing," because that award is all about people, and you only have to look at previous winners. Last year it was Armagit. People that go above and beyond when they don't need to. That was another stand-up for me.
I experienced that at the front of the room because I'd obviously made my way up there because it's closing on the NBEA.
Telling Paddy to go and do selfies with 400 people.
I didn't tell him he asked. I told him it was all right. But it was the first time I'd experienced looking back at the crowd while somebody was talking on the stage, and near enough everybody's eyes were fixed on John Harley on that stage because the VT went out and you could see how many people were touched by it. It was absolutely amazing. You talk about making a difference. Jesse Mansfield, obviously we were made aware of that last week. We've got that out to our network as much as possible to raise awareness. And on the evening, I think you were approached by, was it?
Well, so if we go back a few days before, Rocky, my brother-in-law, one of your best mates?
I'd say acquaintance.
Yeah. Are you going to the wedding?
Got to check my diary.
Okay. 600 quid save, Rocky. Rocky reached out to me and told me the story. And as soon as I saw, I knew Dave's name, Dave Mansfield, but I couldn't quite picture him. I looked, and then I've found him on LinkedIn. I was like, yeah, I do remember Dave from Misco days, years ago. And then Jane Lee from Moon Computers works with Matt Dan. The IT sort of scene in Northamptonshire is a little bit incestuous. A lot of other sectors. They've all worked with each other at some point in the time, and they're still quite a close knit community, really. Jane reached out to me because family friend, kids go to school with each other, and then Matt Dan. I spoke to Matt, who's big mates with Dave, and obviously Danny Roberts is big mate with Dave. Or I think so big they call each other. He's called Manners.
Manners, yeah.
And you stood there and you're like, on one hand, you feel so angry that somebody somewhere, or some people somewhere in the world, have decided that they've got this magic pill that's going to save a lad that's got leukemia, and they've priced it at £250,000. In 2022, that just ain't right. Oh, it's not right in any year, by the way. Yeah. But you're like, this ain't right. And so part of you feel a bit angry, but then the other part of you's like, you know, most of us have got kids. I cannot imagine for one moment what Dave and Zoe, I don't know Zoe, but Zoe is obviously Jesse's mum, have been through, and their family, immediate family. And, you know, I bang on about it most weeks in our office here. How can we make a difference? You know, not just to the team and our customers, but the communities that we work within. And it was too good an opportunity. That sounds bad, but you know what I mean?
With the network that we have
to raise awareness. So we did some bits and pieces on social media leading up to the awards. And I think I rang you on Thursday morning and said, get Chloe to do a slide. We've got to say something. Yeah. I'm glad that the camera wasn't on me because I had that monitor down the front that Fabtronic put in there, and I would have probably gone. But you can't, when you're talking about a 10-year, I've got Bo's 10. I don't know if I'm on my own here, but you just think that could have been Bo. Like, if any other parents there, you're thinking if that could be your kid in hospital. So, you know, Jesse Mansfield, Northampton born and bred, loves Spurs. He's got a rare form of leukemia, and life-saving treatments, £250,000. The family launched the Just Giving page 4 or 5 days before the awards. On the morning of the awards, I think they were at about 78 grand.
Yeah, something like that.
We made the announcement and said, listen, we're not expecting people to give, but is there somebody in this room that can help make a real difference?
Yeah, spread the word.
And towards the end of the night, Alex Goldsmith, CEO of Medigold Health, kicked it off. I'm not going to do the impression, but it was along the lines of muchos, 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 which is one of my many nicknames. I want us to give £5,000, but this is what we're going to do. So then led to McIntyre Hudson. Yeah. It then led to Panther Logistics, who had already done some bits and pieces for them before. With some raffle, off TV, 85-inch telly. DBFB, Simon Pickering. He was sober Thursday, by the way.
Was he?
No, that was a joke, Frazer.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. He obviously matched it, and then Grosvenor Group, they matched it as well. And then you just sit back, and there was a moment when, half an hour later, when the party had started, I sat back and I was like, wow, we've just raised 25 grand. Well, not we, but the community that we strive about making a difference has just put together £25,000 for this boy that, to be honest, I don't think any of them, some of them had heard about Jesse, but they didn't necessarily know him, but they've done it because they feel the same as us. And that's, when you talk about making a difference, that's making a difference.
There was a lady in the room, she came up to me just after I think I made the announcement of the first wave of donations, because after, I think, 3 of them done it, then 2 more said they wanted to donate as well. And I didn't get her name, so if you're watching, please let me know. She was so excited that I believe it was her son was in Jesse's class. No. And she was like, can I text her mum now? I want to let her know what's happened. And I was like, yeah, look, obviously let her know we're doing what we can to raise awareness and not sounding like a parrot, make that difference. And I text Danny on the night, in true Danny Roberts style. I texted him at 11 and said, are you awake? And he replied back, no. So I told him anyway. And yeah, I mean, we put these awards on to recognise Northamptonshire, but then we're going to plant 2,000 trees, and we've helped raise £25,000 for a little boy who needs it. I've been in a similar situation with my father-in-law who had an acute form of leukemia similar to what Jesse's got, so I know sort of what that family's going through. So to make that difference and to keep raising awareness and stuff that we posted last week, people are still commenting on it because it's so important. So that, when you asked me what my highlight was, Paddy's selfie was close, but Jesse's awareness was the highlight of the evening for me, because it was massive. You can stand back and you can go, we've celebrated, we've recognised, and we're going to help a little boy. We're going to help him.
Definitely. And there are plenty of big hitters in that room, not just financially, but people that are going to make a difference for our county in terms of opportunities going forward, attracting bigger businesses to come to Northamptonshire.
Yeah.
And it's a job well done. Biggest challenge?
Getting everyone to be quiet.
No. How do we top it in 2023?
How do we top it?
Don't worry.
It's all up there. It's all up there. Education awards, we've got to mention it. Business education, so close to us.
So Eamon Holmes couldn't make it.
Eamon Holmes had an accident.
Well, you got to elaborate. Eamon Holmes had a operation on his back.
Yes.
He went against medical advice. Eamon, naughty boy, watching this, and he had a little slip at home and he shattered his shoulder. He is fit and well. I'm not sure if he subscribes to our podcast. He may or may not see this, but he will be our 2023 host for next year, and we obviously send him all of our best wishes. However, we had to call on somebody else to come in at the last minute.
Very charismatic.
Go on.
Very similar to Eamon Holmes, would you say? Or would you say the exact polar opposite of Eamon Holmes?
How good was he?
He was brilliant.
So who was he?
Louis Spence. His jacket won it for me. I asked him if I can get one made up in my size, and I think he pretty much said what you're chuckling about already. I don't think so, darling, was his exact words. Adam Kaplan texted me and said, ask him where he got that jacket from.
Pendragon Pink.
Pendragon Pink. He absolutely loved it. But yeah, to go from 542 people, Paddy McGuinness, packed out Northampton County Cricket Club, to do exactly the same the following night with the education sector.
We only had, it was 306 there.
Yeah, I mean, you say only 306 is a large number in that room in the Park Inn, right?
Yeah.
They loved it. Louis' entrance was something else.
Oh, no,
Matt Coleman, his face was a picture.
Yeah.
I spoke to him earlier and told him.
John Sinclair at the University of Northampton.
Yeah, brilliant. I told Matt, you know the screensavers that you have when certain people call you? Mine is now a picture of Matt Coleman and Louis Spence. So whenever Matt Coleman rings me, I can be reminded of that. But yeah, Louis and the kilt.
But put that to one side. From the education perspective, hospital and outreach, they had a very rewarding evening.
Yeah.
It's only when you actually get to look at what that organisation does. They've got a site in Delapre, a site in Kettering, and when they're looking after the children that they are, that's when. I think you were with me when the lady pulled us to one side at the end to thank us, and it was only when I was asking her questions and she was talking to me, I was like, oh my God, I think I'm going to well up here. I could not do their job. I couldn't do it. That teaching community, and granted that it's only a reflection on part of the education sector, because obviously they've got to be nominated or they've got to enter themselves, but you've got some very, very impressive individuals that are from the education world, but obviously collectively departments and schools, and I think we did a really, really good job at reflecting that, because it hasn't been done before.
No, and that was the third education awards that we've done.
Yeah, that's the third, and obviously it's the biggest to date. But do you know what? That education award ceremony will be at 450 next year. Business award ceremony will. I mean, we've got some ideas, but I reckon we can. We won't not get to 1,000 next year, but we certainly will get to 1,000 by 2024, 2025.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. One of the things that, again, not banging on about the outstanding, but we don't just do that for the business awards. It follows through in unison into the education awards. So those schools, Daventry Hill, overall school
Gareth
of the year.
and the team there have really transformed that. When you look at what the school was like a few years ago, and I think every school does it. We all probably have it where your kid goes into year 7, and by the time it gets to year 11, there's either been a change of head or there might have been a dip in performance from Ofsted or whatever. I think that's just life. But when you look at some of the cases there with schools, some of the individuals there have gone in and literally turned them around. Northampton, NSB, Northampton School for Boys. Yeah. Again, it's just, I mean, they won Secondary School of the Year, and every year you look at what they've done and what they've achieved. Just listen, and Pete Basin, what a guy he is. I had such a wonderful conversation with him beforehand, and he said, Ben, do you know what? Education's simple. He said, it's like a triangle. When a child enters education, they're willing to learn. And if you've got a willing parent that's going to support that, and at the top you've got a willing teacher, education's simple. And I went, do you know what, Pete, I'm going to use that. I said, have you trademarked it? Because he just made it so simple. And he's right. You know, when you think back about a child, when they go into education, they want to learn through play and they're willing, etc. It's only when they mature and get older and other things come in that you start to have problems. But if the parents, support that child and in turn support the teacher, and the teacher's right as well, it's a simple solution.
It makes it makes a huge difference. But then you use that analogy of the triangle. That's why we work so close with business and education, because you can use that same analogy in your business.
Listen, All Things Business, first edition.
It's not here. Well, it's just here in Northamptonshire,
First edition. January 2017. So me, Dan Harding, Chris Burton were there with that first went to print, along with Alex, obviously, who's still with us. I said 4, but it's actually 6 of the team that we've got here now. 6 of our 28 were in the education system when that first edition went out. And that's the thing, when it resonates. People that are in year 10 or 11 now, they could be putting together the Northamptonshire or the Milton Keynes or the London edition of All Things Business, or the Leicestershire or the Cambridgeshire or the Oxfordshire.
Or the Dubai one.
No, you ain't going to Devon or Dubai, Fraser. Okay?
We'll think about that.
That was a real good way to end it, quite seriously, and then you've gone and dragged us down to Devon again.
You said Devon, I said Dubai.
Oh, okay. From us to you that have managed to stay this late, including you, Arthur, thanks, mate, over time. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you for listening all this year, and we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous 2023.